I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Good morning, I'm Amy Tipton, and I am at Verde Farm and Flowers, and want to talk to you a little bit about my dream of flowers and gardening. And it really started when I was very, very young. Both of my grandmothers had very green thumbs, different types of green thumbs. One was in very rural Appalachia and had massive vegetable gardens to feed her family, and grew touch-me-nots and old-fashioned coxcombs. And then my other grandmother lived in Orlando, not far from Disney, and had lots of tropicals and caladiums and things I don't even know, palms and things that we don't grow here in Western North Carolina. But their gardens were very different, and I loved them so much. So when I was in first grade, there was a contest. We got seeds from a local garden club, and we were to grow some flowers, and then there was going to be prizes after the judges came through. So I think I had marigolds from seed and some zinnias. And my dad put a little brick edging around this small patch in our backyard, and my flowers came up, and I was so proud of them. But my dad was a crazy weed-eating machine, and his idea was that everything needed weed-eated. So he weed-eated my flowers, and wouldn't you know, the judges came the next day. I did not win a prize. That scarred me. So that really brought my gardening dreams to life. But I've loved it always, as long as I can remember. So when we moved to this farm in 2018, I didn't know yet what I wanted. I knew I wanted a garden. And one day, Pinterest and Instagram and all the things, I thought, oh my gosh, I want one of those gardens with a greenhouse and made from old windows, and build a garden around that. So I got this vision for it. I had this area of grass that I thought it would be perfect for, wanted raised beds, and just started kind of dreaming up this concept of a garden, and didn't really know where to start, had no idea where to start. And I was following, as I do so many wonderful garden groups on social media, I was following the Paul Zimmerman Rose group, and I have never grown roses because I always felt like that was for the elite gardeners, not the novice home gardeners like myself. But I love the group. And I would see Paul Zimmerman also commenting in local pages I was in, and I thought, wait a minute, I think he must live in this region. And sure enough, I found out he did. He lives not far from me, just over the border in South Carolina. So I reached out to him. I saw that he did garden design and everything. So I thought, well, I'm just going to see what can happen. So I messaged him and kind of shared a little bit about what I wanted to do. And sure enough, he said, I can come and let's take a look and see what we come up with. So that's how it started, like for real started. Paul came, I remember that day, and we walked out to the big plot of grass, and I described, wanting a greenhouse and lots of raised beds and just a plan for the most beautiful garden. And sure enough, Paul said he could help me do that. And boy, did he. First, he put together a garden design with the plants and all the names and what needs to go where. And in the middle of that design was a greenhouse. And I was like, Paul, I got to have this greenhouse. That's the main thing. But how am I going to get that? And he said, I know a guy. And that guy, Danny Kelly, who's a local craftsman here in the area, came over and said, yeah, I think I can do this. We talked about the old windows, and we really didn't have a plan. But the beautiful thing about Danny Kelly is he reads minds. He knew, like, if I gave him an idea, he knew what was in my mind and knew how to bring that to life. And it was amazing, actually, how we worked so well together. And Paul helped manage to make sure everything came together. So we had Danny, we had some other folks come in, and, we got to have water and electric and all the things. And Paul managed all of that. And we started building. It took so much longer than I thought it ever could, because, of course, as dreams do, they keep expanding. You're like, oh, what about this? What about that? And I was on the hunt for a while looking for old windows, and Paul found on Facebook Marketplace, I think we got a ton of old windows, a lot of them for like, I don't know, like maybe less than $100. It was crazy cheap. And simultaneously, I was collecting old stained glass windows and wanted to showcase those somehow in the greenhouse. And so over time, we started building, and Danny kept coming up with ideas on how to make the windows work. And magically, before my very eyes, this dream, bigger than the dream I had, honestly, it became a live building, a real building, and a real garden. And it surpassed anything that I had actually thought about in the past, and continues to do that. So we're in now, I believe this has been completed 3 years, 3 full, like this is my 4th summer. I'm going into my 4th summer of the garden. And, I'm planning things in the fall. I can do succession planning, and every year I get new ideas. I'd grow a lot of dahlias, and I've decided I don't want dahlias in the greenhouse garden. I want to put those in my other area outside the garden. They just do better out there. And oh my gosh, have I learned about cut flowers that are gorgeous and then incredibly invasive. I would never recommend celosia in a raised bed again. I have celosia seedlings everywhere. And I love celosia, but not that much. That was an ode to my grandmother who grew the coxcombs back in West Virginia. But you just keep learning and evolving. Like this year, I have a little shed out back. Paul put that in the design, and I thought I want a rose climbing all over the front of that shed. So Danny came back, and we talked through a plan for a trellis with some hog panel fencing, and right now I've got a rose started on that. It's actually already started blooming. That just went in the ground this spring. So the great thing about a dream and a garden is that it never ends. You can continue to develop and dream it and make it happen. And that's what this garden is for me.
There ain't much more than I ever knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful